Hi, today I'm here to talk about how autism is often thought to mainly affect boys and men more than girls and women. Now, in terms of autism, I'd have to say it's 50-50 between the genders actually. The only reason that boys and men often get diagnosed with autism more is generally because the diagnostic criteria is geared more towards the masculine characteristics of the disorder. See, autism, Asperger's syndrome in particular, was discovered by an Austrian pediatrician named Hans Asperger nearly 100 years ago now. And when he was developing the diagnostic criteria for it, he studied a group of boys. Now, yes, autism, when it comes to the two genders, there are many characteristics that do cross over. But generally, autistic females do have slightly different characteristics, and this can cause problems when it comes to them getting diagnosed, especially when they're really young. See, in my case, I've clearly had autism my entire life. You know, as a young child, I couldn't socialize very well. I couldn't understand emotion. As a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, my hobby would be lining up a heap of spoons and forks rather than playing with my toys, and I'd read maps and Refodexes instead of Disney books. And until I was 9, I read the Atlas, but then a teacher took pity on me and gave me a Harry Potter book to read, and that became my obsession from that moment on. However, when I initially went for a diagnosis when I was 6 years old, they said that the characteristics of autism were clearly there, but there was just something that just didn't quite meet the criteria. Mainly the fact that I had a stronger than the tip. This was 20 years ago, and autism back then, autistic people were generally thought to have no emotion at all. However, I was very clingy to my mum, and that hindered me. So I missed the diagnosis when I was 6, but then when I went for a second diagnosis at 15, more people had been diagnosed with the condition, and the feminine characteristics were starting to show as well. Now, the main difference between, generally there are crossovers of course, but the main difference between a male with autism and a female with autism is that the females tend to be better at mimicking and masking their social anxiety conditions. For instance, I had difficulty socially, but see, generally being a female, throughout school I was expected to be more emotional, connected, even maternal and such. So I had to really work on trying to mask that, and then it became harder for doctors to clearly see that I had autism. So they passed my anxiety and social difficulties off as post-traumatic stress and anxiety. Now, I must say, the fact that I got diagnosed so late, it was an absolute bummer because I missed I didn't get assistance throughout my school years. I missed out on all that. I struggled all the way through school. I failed it, you know. To this day, I hate any form of schooling, hence the reason I've decided to have an entrepreneurial sort of job. And I'm now in my late 20s. In fact, my birthday's this Sunday, so I'm about to turn 27 now. So to end this, I really do wish that I'd been diagnosed a lot earlier, so then I could have gotten my life together when I was, say, 18, 19, instead of in my late 20s. Thank you.